Hi, I'm Shaylin Hayes-Raymond, and I wanted to let you know about my upcoming Misophonia teen group class. This class will provide psychoeducation, group exercises, and coping skills based on sensory and cognitive skills for misophonia. It will also include communication exercises, negotiation exercises, and group exercises to help teens with misophonia understand that they are not alone and to learn how to cope with the disorder. If you're interested in these sessions but would like more information, you can sign up for the Q&A info session, which is free. The link will be down below. I'm super excited to share these classes, and it is my hope that these classes can help teens learn how to cope with misophonia. These classes will be from ages 12 to 17 and will be ongoing. These info sessions will be held at regular intervals so that parents and their teens, if they'd like to attend, can learn about the group classes. These group classes are 4 sessions, one a week for 2 hours each. The cost is $600 and includes a copy of the Misophonia Matters workbook and PDF book. This class will be held through Zoom and is interactive and requires a webcam and microphone. If the teens feel uncomfortable, they may turn off their camera at any time and take a break. If you're interested in learning more, you can go to the page about the class or attend one of the info sessions. You can find more information about this at misophoniafoundation.com/teen-class. If you have more questions, feel free to email me at contact@shaylinraymond.com or reach out through the information pages that will always be linked below.
So this is a free information session for my misophonia class for teenagers, and the information session is, of course, for parents. But teenagers are welcome to, or if you want to let them see the video afterward, if they have any questions, that is totally fine. And I can send the link afterward for that. So my name is Shaylin Hayes-Raymond, and I'm a licensed counseling therapist candidate in New Brunswick, Canada. I have a Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology, and I am the director of the International Misophonia Foundation. The reason I kind of got into all this work is because I myself have misophonia, so I understood that there was a huge challenge here, and my own misophonia is why I got into counseling, because I felt like there was a need, and I also felt like there wasn't enough clinical work for people with misophonia. Turn on that. I had some background noise on that shouldn't be there. And as I said, I have misophonia myself, and I wrote a book, Misophonia Matters, based on my own experiences, but also my clinical work and what I learned during my degree. So I kind of put it all together. And there is no official treatment for misophonia. So a lot of what goes on right now is coping skills, but also psychoeducation. There is research, and I always base what I do on the research. It's growing, and there is a brain basis for misophonia that was found by Dr. Kumar in 2018. And I am actually very hopeful with the amount of research going on. And I'm also hopeful that more and more skills will be developed as we learn more about why the condition exists. And I already kind of said what Misophonia Matters was, that it was my book and my approach. And because there's no actual treatment, I focus a lot on psychoeducation, sensory-based skills, cognitive skills, but also negotiations and accommodations and learning how to discuss misophonia with people. And I find teenagers can often have trouble explaining that they have misophonia, or they will feel like they're going to be judged. And I think a lot of that can be kind of mediated by practicing. So some of the class for the group class will give the teens kind of an opportunity to role play kind of a negotiation setting or explaining misophonia to people. So that part is going to have more of a practical way that they can kind of take these skills that they've learned, these negotiation skills and advocacy skills, and apply them. And the other worksheets and activities will be based on the cognitive and psychological skills. And I just have like a little overview of the group, and it's going to have psychoeducation worksheets and interactive discussion. And it is over 1 month. It's 4 2-hour sessions. And I do have a little, oh, sorry, this is class days, but I also put each session into a brief overview and syllabus. And I want to focus about accessibility because I'm sure your teens have concerns over, what if they're triggered during this group? And I am very mindful of that. So teens are encouraged to turn off their camera and microphone if they feel overwhelmed. There's going to be a rule for no eating and drinking, pen clicking, and other obvious triggers. If your teen does have health concerns that they have to eat or drink, I'll just ask that they have their webcam and microphone off just for that. And I also want to encourage the teens to politely bring up any triggers that come up and use this as a safe and accepting environment to practice those skills of bringing up their triggers. So session 1 will be more psychoeducation based since it is the beginning, and it will start off with 30 minutes of psychoeducation in a presentation, and it will focus on what misophonia is and how to explain it to others. And then there'll be a group discussion about what was just discussed and learned, and of course, any questions about that. And then there'll be 30 minutes allocated for a group-based activity based on the psychoeducation. So that would be where we're talking about that role play of kind of explaining it to people, and then a 30-minute discussion of that group activity. And of course, there's some flexibility there depending on if more time is needed for each thing. It won't necessarily be perfect on the 30 minutes, but I did allocate it to make sure that each activity has enough time. And session 2 will be mostly the same, but instead it will be negotiations and accommodations. And again, it will have group discussion on that and then an activity based on that same psychoeducation and then discussion on the activity. So each session will kind of have one theme that goes through it to kind of make it easier so that everybody's on the same page. And I don't want to kind of throw all these ideas at them at once and kind of have it be overwhelming. I would rather each session kind of have a trajectory. But if there are any questions that come up that aren't related to the theme, that's totally fine during the discussion period. And session 3 will focus on cognitive coping skills. And again, it will have the discussion of that and then a group activity based on that topic, and then 30 minutes for the activity. Then the 4th session is similar again, but that will be sensory-based activities. But the one difference in the 4th session, because it's the end, there'll be some time at the end to discuss anything learned during the class. I don't want to just kind of like hard close it. I'll have probably about half of that 30 minutes at the end just be any questions that have come up. And again, like I said, those questions can be answered at any time throughout the course. And there will be access for parents to the 1-hour video on the Misophonia Matters class and the PDF version of the book. So if your teens want to read in between sessions or watch that video, they are more than welcome to. And you, as the parents, are also welcome to those resources. And the cost of the program is $600. And as I said, it includes the workbook, the book. There's actually 2 books. One is worksheets, and then there's the book that is the program, and that's like a full 300-page book, I believe. And then there's the 1-hour coping skills class, and that is recommended for parents to get a good overview. And then upon payment, the consent forms are sent via the billing email, and consent forms are just to give you an idea of kind of what to expect and to ensure that everything is covered. And then the registration isn't through the foundation, it's through my personal website.